Good evening, everyone. My name is Valerie Karras. As president of the board of the Interfaith Partnership of Greater St. Louis, I welcome you to IP's 33rd annual dinner and celebration. Please excuse my absence at this dinner, but I am out of town for a family friend's wedding. I expect to be with you all again next year, as I have been for the past decade that I have been a member of IP's board. This year's theme is ecological in nature, sharing our common home. Our home, the earth, is in ever greater danger of climate instability and destruction of the biome from human activity. At the same time, most, if not all, of our religious and philosophical traditions revere the earth and understand humanity's place as intertwined within its complexity and humanity's role as one of guardianship and stewardship. In my own Eastern Orthodox Christian tradition, we even go beyond that to see ourselves as a microcosm created by God to serve as a mediator between the Creator and creation as a whole. Our keynote speaker this evening, Professor Benjamin Defoe of St. Louis University's Department of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences, will touch on some of these issues and how we may respond in our own lives. Our common interest in exercising responsible stewardship over the environment is just one of several areas where our various faith and philosophical traditions transcend differences in perspectives and share important concerns. Our society, thanks in no small part to the algorithms of social media and a cynical approach to political rhetoric, is becoming increasingly polarized as ideological opponents and, even worse, those of other races, ethnicities, religions, and sex or gender are stereotyped and even lied about, denigrated, and demeaned. Interfaith Partnership stands as a shared rejection of this dehumanization of those who are different from us. Our visible presence and our united voice are more important than ever as we combat a divisiveness that arises from fear and from a deliberate manipulation of that fear. We combat it in multiple ways, not least of which is through the very membership of the board and the cabinet, each of which comprises a variety of faith and philosophical traditions, the board providing organizational leadership, while the cabinet, whose members are appointed by their own faith traditions, keeps lines of communication open between communities and speaks on important local issues affecting our faith traditions. More broadly, Interfaith Partnership provides a positive presence in the St. Louis area through educational programs to eliminate ignorance of each other's cultures and beliefs, service projects to combat neglect and need within our local community, and social interactions such as this evening's event, simply in order to get to know one another better on a more personal level. Our honorees this evening exemplify the kind of open, caring community leadership that Interfaith Partnership stands for. You will hear more about all three of them later this evening, but I just wanted to highlight some of their accomplishments here. The Reverend Roderick Burton, local lead pastor of the new Northside Missionary Baptist Church, advocates for environmental justice and leads the recently created Spiritual Emergency Response Network, in addition to teaching practical theology at Covenant Seminary, serving as president of the St. Louis Airport Interfaith Chaplaincy, and being a member of the cabinet of Interfaith Partnership. His wife, First Lady Carlotta Burton, beyond supporting her husband's ministry, is herself the founder and CEO of the nonprofit Project Circles of Support, which collects and distributes donations of hygiene and other products to churches, schools, shelters, and similar organizations helping those in crisis or with other needs. Jack Sisk, who serves on IP's board and cabinet representing the Hindu temple, is the founder and director of the Living Insight Center in Clayton, a religious and spiritual center that houses art and artifacts from faith traditions around the world and provides information on both these objects and the traditions they come from. Jack Sisk is also my immediate predecessor as president of the board of the Interfaith Partnership of Greater St. Louis. I am more grateful to him than I can express in words for the amazing leadership he provided the past 2 years as IP weathered a financial crisis. Through his generous donation of innumerable hours of hard work, he brought us back from the brink. Thanks to Jack and to the invaluable administrative and programmatic prowess of our interfaith relations specialist, Mary Peterson, Interfaith Partnership is again in a healthy financial position and is continuing to provide, together with our partners and allies, a variety of educational programs, community service projects, and opportunities for interpersonal interaction. Among the educational programming this year have been presentations on religious images and symbols and on fasting practices, the latter organized primarily by IP's Young Adult Dialogue and Action Group, also known as YADA. We have partnered with the World Trade Center and St. Louis Economic Development Partnership's Mosaic Project to provide presentations on various global faith traditions, and with the Palatine Renewal Center for a festival of faiths and philosophies with informational booths and a roundtable discussion. The primary community service project has been cleanup of the historic Father Dixon African American Cemetery. In addition, our website includes a page listing a variety of local and remote opportunities for volunteering. I became president in February and perceived a need for review and restructuring, which would both elicit feedback from our board members and create more active participation from them in various areas of IP's work: finances, development, membership, and programs. We hired an outside consultant who helped guide us through the initial stages of this process, and we are continuing it as we reflect on her summary and recommendations. The board at its last meeting authorized the creation of 3 committees to further our work in these areas. Their leadership and membership is being established, and they will begin their work soon. We have also returned to in-person meetings, had a few social events to allow board members the opportunity to get to know one another better, and are preparing for an anticipated retreat in January or February of next year. All of these activities allow the board to provide a stronger, more cohesive leadership. I am not oblivious to the tensions, often from world events in the Middle East and elsewhere around the globe, that spill over into our local St. Louis area community. Those tensions affect not only relations between some of our faith communities, but within them as well. Both the board and the cabinet of Interfaith Partnership are committed to honest and respectful dialogue. We seek to listen and to provide support wherever we can. And the cabinet may issue a statement on an issue of importance to emphasize our shared commitment to nonviolence and respect for one another. In our current social and political climate, the voice of compassion and respect which Interfaith Partnership provides is more needed than ever. I thank all of you for your support of IP and its mission, and I hope that you all enjoy this evening's program and your fellowship with one another. Bon appetit, or as we say in Greek, kalli όρεξη.
It is my honor to present Interfaith Partnership's Lifetime Achievement Award to Jack Sisk. I first met Jack 25 years ago when he began the Living Insight Center on Clayton Road, which is across from St. Mary's Hospital. Here at the Living Insight Center, there are many statues and other items that tell the stories of the world's major religions. Many thousands of people have attended programs at the Living Insight Center. Jack has been willing to give guided tours to so many people. Jack and I have participated in many interfaith events together. We've also attended together the parliaments of the world's religions in Salt Lake City, Toronto, and Chicago. Everyone who knows Jack knows that he's a trusted participant in interreligious dialogue. he sees the good in all religions. I encouraged Jack to join Interfaith Partnership many years ago, and he's been a member of the Interfaith Partnership Board for the last 12 years. He also represents Hinduism on the IP cabinet. He's given many tours of the Hindu temple on Weidman Road. Twice he has made pilgrimages to India. Jack served as the Interfaith Partnership Treasurer from 2019 to 2021 when I was president of the board. Jack served as Vice President of the board from 2021 to 2023. And he served as President of the board from 2023 to this past February. It is mainly because of Jack's efforts while he was president that Interfaith Partnership has been able to continue to function so well without a permanent staff. Jack's commitment to positive interreligious relations and his commitment to Interfaith Partnership make him so deserving of this Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, Jack.
Thank you all for being here this evening. I'm humbled to receive this award. I see it not just as an acknowledgement of the efforts I've made over the last 25 years, but more importantly as validation of the values which have guided me. I've been a Hindu for more than 60 years, having been raised a Protestant Christian. One fundamental Hindu belief is that every human being is sacred, because every being and everything actually is part of God. We believe God created and continually sustains the universe within itself. This means every person should be seen and treated as sacred. This is the essence of our customary greeting, Namaste, where we acknowledge each other's sacredness. Loving even thine enemy should be easy. We don't need to like everything, and we should stand up against evil, but we should recognize even their underlying divine nature. Saying Namaste begins as a casual greeting, but it ultimately becomes a profound expression of our fundamental divine nature. Another fundamental Hindu principle which arises from this is that every person has a right to relate to God in his or her own way. This is reflected in the great diversity we have within our religion, but it's also reflected in our perspective that every religion is valid. Hindus have no conversion process. In fact, we have no conversion motivation. If you're happy with your religion, we are totally fine with that. A God who can create such a diverse universe surely would have no problem with the diversity of religions. The center I created in 2001, the Living Insight Center, embodies these values. We call it a universal religious and spiritual center because we welcome and try to authentically present, to the best of our abilities, many of the world's faiths, but also paths for people who don't affiliate with one of the established traditions. We point to the one truth which everyone is seeking. Our organization includes representatives of a wide range of traditions. We began with the thought that we'd be a resource center, providing information by being a museum of the world's religions, perhaps the only one in the Americas, and offering classes and a library. It then grew to be a gathering place for people of all faiths, but perhaps most importantly, it's also a functioning sanctuary for everyone. It also serves as a building for our Interfaith Partnership. I was thrilled and gratified to eventually be invited to participate in the leadership of the Interfaith Partnership. This enabled me to apply my principles to a broader community. I was the first Hindu on the organization's board and the first Hindu to serve as president. October 7 happened about 8 months after I became president. This severe trauma to all of us also jeopardized our ability to remain a cohesive interfaith community. A group of us dove into the situation, hoping to hold our partnership together. We worked to produce a unified cabinet statement calling for safety and peace for everyone, and making a commitment that we would not allow the circumstances in the Holy Land to divide us locally. In the initial days, this looked impossible. However, we were able to get over the hump by doing something which two Jewish leaders brought into the discussion. First, Batya Abramson Goldstein, who many of you know, gave me some sage advice. Then a prominent rabbi made the same point in a Zoom program. Their message was, we can only get through difficult times like these if we fall back and rely upon the very genuine friendships we've cultivated over decades. Doing so, we were able to issue our cabinet statement on October 13, just 6 days after October 7, with no opposition in the cabinet. I consider this one of the IP's greatest milestones during the years I've been a part of it. Sadly, we were disappointed the media didn't publicize it. And this is a reminder that interfaith work isn't about bringing abstract religions together. It's about bringing diverse religious people together to be friends and become agents of the changes we need in the world. I gratefully accept this award this evening as an expression of our friendship and commitment to IP's mission. It's an honor to be in relationship with all of you, and I pray the Interfaith Partnership will remain committed to its mission far into the future.
It is my honor to introduce Reverend Roderick and First Lady Carlotta Burton, and welcome them to the list of honorees. The list of honorees who have received the Lifetime Achievement in Interfaith Relations Award. As awardees, Roderick and Carlotta are recognized for bravely bringing people together, for actively building an interfaith community that is responsive and resilient, for working towards collective transformation, and for being a friend to many. Reverend Burton has led the New Northside Missionary Baptist Church in forming meaningful partnerships across faith traditions, most recently in response to ongoing violence in the St. Louis region. The Burtons co-founded the Spiritual Emergency Response Network. This initiative offers coordinated bereavement care to families affected by violence. Reverend Burton is one of our cabinet leaders for Interfaith Partnership, advocates for environmental issues, and serves as president of the Airport Chaplaincy. Carlotta's leadership emerged through grassroots service and public health advocacy. She and Reverend Burton joined the Prenatal Infant Wellness Collaborative, and together they launched the Triumph Initiative to help combat infant mortality in St. Louis's 27th Ward, which includes neighborhoods such as Baden, North Point, and Walnut Park. Carlotta worked closely with individuals and clergy to train over 100 churches across denominations on mental health in the Black church. Her work empowered faith communities to respond to trauma with compassion and clarity. The Burtons are life partners for over 28 years and have adult children, twins Zoe Williams and Zarek Burton. Congratulations, Roderick and Carlotta. You are loved, respected, and now honored by Interfaith Partnership with this well-deserved award. Congratulations.
So I am very grateful to the Interfaith Partnership of St. Louis to consider myself and Carlotta for such a prestigious award. You know, Carlotta and I together, not thinking about it, we're working in interfaith lanes, but we just didn't even recognize. We didn't have a language for it, especially the work with the mental health work that you did with the churches when you work for behavioral health. You got to talk to a lot of different churches, a lot of different congregations.
Yeah. And what got it for me, my journey really with mental health began while I was working at Mercy Hospital. I had an opportunity that was given to me to work for Behavioral Health Network of Greater St. Louis, where I was able to work with pastors from all over the St. Louis metropolitan area, various denominations. There's a stigma about mental health in our community. And that stigma is, people call you crazy. I grew up hearing it all my life. And the thing with the stigma is that it's in the church. It affects our churches more than anything. So with that, through Behavioral Health Network, I was able to not only go into the churches and work with the pastors, but I also helped myself and healed myself from all the things that had happened to me personally, as well as talk to those pastors who didn't realize they needed help too.
So in Memorial Day of 2014, we had a prayer service here that was an interfaith prayer service. We had Minister Donald from the Mosque 28 was here. We had a priest right on the front, not far from where we're sitting, on the front step. And the Post-Dispatch, it was on the front page of the Post. And we were praying for that there would be peace in the city. So one of the things that we found out was there was a Muslim charity in our neighborhood project downtown that was feeding people. And they were at the St. Louis Diaper Bank, had it like an open house, and they were talking about what they could do. And together we partnered and we provided diapers in this area. And when the pandemic hit, we were still able to provide diapers in North County. People were coming from a long way, but that was a partnership that we did. In the fall of 2015, an arsonist attacked predominantly African-American churches. And our church was the second church that was attacked. And I'll never forget when the folks from the synagogue came on a Sunday morning after the arsonist attacked our church, it was just really something. Yeah. It touched us. People from various faiths came to our church. I'll never forget, a gentleman came up to me. He says, I don't believe in any of this, but I believe that your church should have the right to worship. When I was interim pastor, they were like, okay, they're interviewing me. And I said, I think it'd be great to have solar panels in church. I was just thinking purely pragmatism, saving money. Well, little did we know that from doing that opened up doors, which eventually would lead us to be part of Green the Church. It's been a great place to work with other congregations and other faiths on issues around environmental justice. Justice-related issues are not just always around policing, but it is about environment, clean water, clean air. And one of the things I'm very grateful for was that we had a chance we had 2 EPA administrators come here. And we said to him, I said, look, the most inefficient buildings are houses of worship. Can the EPA put together some sort of publication to help give guidance? And they did. And they put it out in October of 2019. And so we challenged the next administrator. We challenged him like, hey, can you think about how can houses of worship how can they help be more energy efficient? The less they're spending on energy, the more resources they have to serve their communities.
And through that, what we had an opportunity to do too is work with Heat Up St. Louis, where we had a huge event down in our Family Life Center where we partnered with Ameren, and Ameren gave out all these energy efficient light bulbs.
I was always thinking about, you go through St. Louis, these beautiful houses of worship, synagogues, mosques, but I wouldn't want to have their electric bill or their heating bill, and so how can folks be helped? And so that was part of it was pragmatism as well. Thinking about how can, we challenge Ameren to, hey, what resources are there for houses of worship? What grants are there? What can we do? Because houses of worship are serving the community. The context I grew up in, they said interfaith was a thing to fear. Okay. Matter of fact, some of the people that I used to grow up church with, they think something's wrong with me now. I'm out there, I've lost it, and they don't know what they're missing. And so it's just been a blessing The interfaith work has come in such handy, so useful and practical with the airport chaplaincy. And so when the incidents happen up at the airport and the person is Hindu or they're Muslim, I got people that I can call up and talk to them, and I can say, hey, Dr. Shima, who should we talk to about this? So it's just a blessing. I don't see anything less than that. It's been a blessing to be part of this partnership. But we are both very, very grateful for, the honor and the opportunity. And we just want to thank everyone.
Yeah. We thank you all.